So I previously made a video about how you can learn a language by playing a video game. This is slightly different, but it's about how you can learn a language as though you're playing a video game. It sounds similar, but the differences are important. So the game that I will be using as an example, and there are probably other games that you could use as an example, but the game that I would be using is a game called RuneScape. Now RuneScape is a massive online multiplayer game that I actually benefited a lot from playing while I was learning English. But it is a massive game, and if you're interested in learning English, then I would suggest using that as a game for that, and I'm sure you'll benefit a lot from it. In RuneScape, you create your own character, and you sort of set your character on this path that you decide for yourself. You set your own goal, and then you decide to work on the path that you want to make or use to reach those goals. Whether that is that you want to slay some endgame boss, or you just want to do all the quests, or you want to do a lot of skilling, making supplies and such. Those are different goals, and people have their own goals based on what their interests are. Same with language learning. You can have the goal of, I want to be able to watch my favorite TV show in Portuguese, or I want to hold a conversation without much problem. Anything like that, you decide. It all comes down to your own interests, and therefore the path that you should take will also depend on your own interest. Now, why would you actually want to make your language learning journey, like set it up as though you're playing a video game? There are benefits to this, and one of the things that I would say is that you're able to see your progress a lot better than with most other ways, because you can sort of see that, okay, I used to have problems with this, now it's going quite easily. That means that I've sort of raised my level, and this raising your level is very important, because RuneScape has 28 skills, and you can raise your level in each individual one of them, and that will improve that skill, but it won't necessarily improve all of it. It won't improve all of your skills. It will improve that specific skills. Now there are some skills that are tied into each other and such, and while you'll have problems raising one of them independent of the other ones, but in general, you'll improve separate skills based off of the paths that you take. And let's say that one of the things that I want to do is I want to be able to read my favorite book in my target language. Then I would have to think like, okay, that means that I need to have the necessary vocabulary. I need to be able to understand a bit about this structure. Okay, now that I've got that, I can start reading. So those would be my goals and sort of requirements. So I would have to both raise my vocabulary and my understanding of the structure of the language in order to start reading my favorite book. If I enjoyed watching series, for instance, my path would be different. And it would be different depending on what sort of series I wanted to watch. Now, there are different ways of how to start. Most of the time, I would suggest starting with what I'm calling sort of the tutorial of language learning, because RuneScape has this tutorial that you're immediately sent into. Now you can choose to skip it, but for your language learning, I would actually suggest not skipping the tutorial. Now the tutorial lets you know sort of how the game plays, and you'll end up learning a bit. Same with RuneScape, and same with language learning, because I would suggest starting off with something like Babbel or Duolingo or any other language learning app, because you'll get the base structure. Now it won't make you fluent, but you'll get the base structure. And at least for Duolingo, I don't know about Babbel because I haven't tried that, and I don't know about other language learning apps, but at least for Duolingo, it has a streak function, and that can sort of turn into its own daily challenge, because RuneScape also has these daily challenges, like for instance, chop 10 logs, because woodcutting is a skill in RuneScape. And once you've completed that challenge, and while you're doing the challenge, you'll get experience for handing it in and while doing it. And you can have this thing, like let's say that you're done with the tutorial. You've learned maybe 100 words on Duolingo. I'd say you're done with the tutorial at that point. But you can say, okay, so my daily challenge is I'm gonna do one lesson on Duolingo. That's a daily challenge. Or it could be I'm going to revise my Anki cards. That's one daily challenge. I'll make a video on Anki at some point. For now, just know that that video is coming, and it will probably be tied into how to raise your level in your own target language. But you can also use something like a Wordle. I'm just assuming that people know what Wordle is. It's this app where you're guessing a word. Like, you'll know, okay, the word has 5 letters and you'll have to guess it. Now, Portuguese has this, and a lot of different languages has this, and English definitely has it. So you can use that to learn a language, and that is sort of like a nice daily challenge. And then you have your regular training. Like, you can sit down and read a book for 15 minutes, and you'll sort of get experience. And as you get experience, you end up raising your level, and you'll become better. That also, because RuneScape has this sort of success rate. Now, you won't necessarily have a higher success rate, but you'll be able to read more efficiently, and therefore enjoy it more, and therefore get more benefit from it. It sort of becomes the same thing. As you read more, your level increases in reading, and you benefit more from it, just as you would while playing RuneScape. Now, if all of this sounds interesting, yep, I'm making this into sort of a series, and there are loads of other benefits that I haven't gotten to talk about yet that I'm making videos on, and they're coming, so stay tuned for that. And as always, best of luck on your language learning journey. Neck out.